Welcome to another episode of This Is Anything Goes. So today we will be changing the Toyota Alphard steering rack. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so before we start, let's talk a bit about why I'm changing this. Alright, so the problem that I'm having right now is that whenever I'm doing a fast turn on the steering, it sort of feels a bit off in the sense that the feedback I get from it is inconsistent. It's neither soft nor hard. It's like soft, hard, soft, hard. Alright, which makes it very difficult to turn, especially when I'm doing a reverse parking. Alright, so the replacement that I got is actually a recond unit. Alright, because I'm poor, I'm miskin, 我没有钱 I think that's all the language I know. Alright. Okay, so this is a recon unit. It is for the exact same model. I hope it works. Alright, it comes with the tie rods as well, the outer tie rods on both sides. And from what I see, it should not be too difficult. Hopefully. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make sure that the steering is straight and the wheels are straight. Alright, on both sides. Alright, this is important for your steering alignment later. Alright, so you must make sure that it is straight. Okay, so once we are sure that the steerings are straight, we need to remove this bolt. Alright, where is it? It's actually over here, in which you have to actually use a lot of force, probably 2 fingers, to push the rubber up and access this bolt, which is a size 12 mm. Alright, it's a bit difficult. I'm already sweating from this one bolt. Alright, so after we have removed that, we will need to remove this, which is a size 19 and a 17 on the size 19 and a 17 on the bottom. Alright, after that we will need to remove this. Okay, so let's remove it. Alright, so now that we have gotten this out, alright, so this is a size 17 mm. Once you have loosened it, just use a mallet or a hammer and whack it over here or from the top. Alright, because I'm not gonna reuse this. Alright, so it's okay to whack it from the top, but if you're planning to reuse the outer tie rod, then you do not hit it here. You hit it over here till you get loose. Alright, then the other bolt that is over here is actually 19 mm on the top and 19 mm on the bottom. Alright, and you get this. Alright, it's a bit tough, so you might need a breaker bar along with another extension for it. Alright, so we'll be removing the same 2 things over here, here and here on the other side as well. Then let's see if we can actually slide this out. Okay, so where should I start? Okay, so this is the part that actually connects to the steering rack. It was stuck, so I tried to be smart and I removed the entire lower arm. Watched it there. But at the same time, because it was stuck, and it was stuck real good, when I removed the entire, not lower arm, the entire subframe. Alright, I was being smart. I thought removing the entire subframe would be easier, but because this was stuck, it pulled this entire rod down along with it and it broke. Alright, I think this is called the intermediate shaft, so I'll need to find a replacement for this as well. Yeah, this thing was stuck real good. Alright, so I guess this DIY will have to be postponed to a few days later. Alright. Alright, so it has been exactly 1 week since this DIY started. It took about 1 week for all the parts to arrive. Okay, so this is the intermediate shaft, the new one. Alright, and this is the broken one. Alright, as you can see, the difference here is the broken one is missing the top here, which is still attached to the car. Alright, so what we'll do right now is that we will transfer the end part here to the new one. But I guess there's a blessing in disguise in this, in the sense that it is most likely time for me to change this intermediate shaft anyway, because as you can see, this is very loose, whereas this is much harder, much more solid. Alright, this could be one of the reasons why the car has a weird clunking sound in uneven roads. Alright, this is very loose. This takes a lot more effort to move. Alright, this is more solid. This is Alright, so to swap this out, let's have the position maintaining the same. So as you can see over here, with this being flat, alright, the hole on here faces upwards directly. Okay, so we'll remove this bolt and transfer it over here, and then we'll remove the top part from the car. Alright, so after pulling the head out, you will notice one thing. Alright, this is the new head. See how it can actually hold its position, whereas the new head, the old head, is just loose, very loose. Okay, so it's a good thing that this thing broke, so I have to change it. It's a bit greasy, so try not to put it anywhere. Okay, so size 12 mm, remove this. Alright, and just pull it out. And then put this in. Alright, so make sure it is 90 degrees. Okay, look good. Okay, it doesn't come out, that's good. Okay, so to install this back, what I need to do is just find the correct position, plug this back into the shaft on the steering side, and this should be good. Right, so since we have got the subframe down, we might as well change a couple of things. So these are the rubber bushings on it, pretty worn out. Alright, this one is breaking apart. This is broken. This is stretched. This is broken as well. Alright, so we'll be replacing all this with new ones. Alright, so you can see that the difference is, well, the hole itself is pretty big difference. Alright, this is like freshman and this is like senior year. Alright, okay, and also we'll be replacing some of these metal bushings as well that goes inside here. Alright, so these are the new ones. Alright, you can see the old ones versus the new ones. Alright, so I'm only replacing one of these. The other three I'm reusing back because well, all this just needs is a little bit of a cleanup. Alright, it has some melted rubber on it and dirt and all. Alright, the reason why I'm replacing one is because one of it is lost. Alright, I assume that when this broke, this went missing as well. No idea. Alright, got the car, first time removing it, and I'm only left with 3. Alright. Okay, so you must be wondering where this bushing goes. Okay, so it goes to these 4 holes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And man, will you look at that. Pretty clean subframe, right? Pretty clean. Yep, pretty clean. Okay, how you install the bushings and the metal bush is very simple. Alright, you see a groove here, make sure it gets in between. Alright, just push it in. Okay, and this, just put it in. Just like that. Okay, so now we will compare the old steering rack versus the new one, alright, or some people call it rack and pinion. Okay, so this set that I bought is a recond unit. It comes with the tie rods, the outer tie rods, alright, on both sides. So remember, this is not new, this is recond, so they probably just fixed the internals and everything, but that's why it doesn't look so silvery and nice. Alright, so let's do a comparison. In terms of the tie rod, the old one looks a bit deflated and there's some oil coming out of it, and that's very loose, whereas the new one is actually tough enough to actually lift the whole thing up. Okay, let's see on this side. This is the driver side, and this is even more loose. Alright, as this is more solid. Okay, so before I install this, there's a couple of things I would like to talk about. First, you need to know the position of your tie rods. Alright, so count the threads over here. In this case, there's 1, so I'm moving it to 1. Alright, but I'm not tightening it yet, which is why you see this as loosed. Once I install, I'll tighten it. And over here, you see there's 3 threads, 3 to 4. So I adjusted it to be the same. So the reason why this is done in such a manner is so that you get the closest possible to your original alignment. Alright, obviously once you get this installed, you need to send it to the shop to get it aligned, but this will actually make things easier as well as less complicated in the future. Alright, you don't want it to be too far out, then it'll be very difficult for the shop to actually do the alignment. Moreover, when you drive to the alignment shop, you will have one hell of a struggle. Alright, so keep it as close to the original as possible. Alright, and we'll bolt this up. Jadi, subframe. Okay, so we have the rack and pinion of the steering rack already roughly bolted to the subframe. As you can see, the bolts are still loose. We'll tighten it up once we install the subframe onto the car. Okay, but I'm going to show you where it needs to be bolted right here, because under the car is a bit difficult. Alright, my car is not that high, so yeah, I'm only running on jack stands. Okay, so let's look at the bolts. Alright, the lower arm, alright, this bolt and this bolt over here goes to 233 Newton meters. Okay, the 3 bolts over here, alright, the one that connects to the brakes and all, that is 93 Newton meters. The steering rack, this bolt over here and this bolt over here goes for 138 Newton meters. The engine mount engine mount, which is over here, 1 2 3 4. All right, this one goes for 96 Newton meters. Oh, there's still a lot more. Okay, so the main bolts for the subframe, which is this bolt and the bolt at the back here, and the main bolt over here. All right, this goes for 145 Newton meters. All right, okay, so you may not see it here, but you will see the parts over here. All right, these are like the Y joints that connects to here. So those have 3 bolts, one which is the main one over here that goes for 145, and the other 2 that goes for 93 Newton meters. All right, the tie rod, all right, this one is tightened to 49 Newton meters. The stabilizer link, which is the one over here, all right, this goes for 74 Newton meters, and this 2 over here goes for 96 Newton meters. All right, so it's now time for me to put this on the jack stand, move it in, and time to bolt it up. All right. Alright, that's the end of this video, and as usual, I hope you learned something from this, especially from my mistake. Right. Okay, so let's talk a bit about this DIY. The reason why I did this DIY was because I was getting uneven feedback from the steering. Alright, so what happens is that when I'm turning, especially when I'm reversing, alright, that means a slow or stationary turn, alright, the feedback from the steering was not consistent. Alright, it's either it's not soft, it's not hard, it's just that normally when we turn the steering, it's like very soft, very smooth, but this was like jerking, in a sense that it's soft, hard like that. So it was very difficult and it was a bit worrying, and I was getting some sound from the steering rack as well, in the sense that when I'm on uneven roads, I get a tuk 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 tuk, which was not pleasant. Okay. Okay, I don't think there's any special tools needed in this case. Alright, it's just a jack, A stand for safety, then spanners and everything. Oh, you might need a breaker bar, and if you break your breaker bar like what I did, you might need an air compressor with an impact wrench, or a new breaker bar, which I already bought. Okay, in terms of time, how long it takes to do this DIY, so I took the very long route. Instead of taking out the steering rack alone, I took out the entire subframe because I was being smart, which was stupid of me. Alright, because when I was taking down the subframe, I sort of broke the steering coupling, which was a blessing in disguise because it was also very loose already. Alright, so it was time to change that. Okay, so the steering coupling, I bought it new. It was 230 ringgit, I believe, 230 or 260 ringgit. Alright, but it's not an original Toyota. An original Toyota was about 600 to 800 ringgit. Okay, and in terms of the steering rack, it's also not an original Toyota, but it was a recond model, which cost about 430 ringgit. But that was back in March. That was back in March, about 430 ringgit. But now I checked back the same link, it's about 500 ringgit. Alright, that's quite a steep increase actually. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about this is that after this project was done, after this DIY was done, alright, and this is very important, this will determine whether you want to go for the second-hand parts from the chop shops, new parts, OEM parts, original parts, or recon parts. Alright, the reason why I say that is because after I've installed this steering rack, I've noticed that this steering rack, while it's a recon model, it's also not working well. Alright, when I'm turning the steering from a stationary position to the left, you will get one tang sound. Then when I slowly turn back to the right, I'll get one tang sound. Alright, so it's like a spring sound, it's annoying, and when I go on uneven roads it's also very noisy as well. Alright, but I did contact the seller. So here's the thing about recon things. Alright, they give you 3 months warranty. Anything after 3 months they wash their hands off. So partly my fault because I purchased this in March but I only installed it in July. So they do not want to replace the unit for me. Okay. So my fault for installing it late, but in a way it's also telling me that they do not have quality, or at least there's no quality control. Alright, you just hope that the thing breaks within 3 months, because if it breaks on the 4th month, like my case, when I install it on the 4th month, well, it's off warranty. Alright, and for 400 over bucks for 3 months warranty, that's totally not worth it to me. Alright, they have no pride in their work. Alright, it's all business. Alright, which I agree, it's all business to them, but the warranty is bad in the sense that for people like me who purchase things when things break or show signs of breakage, then we find a time. In this case, it took me 4 months to find a time to actually do this, and the warranty is off. Alright, and when I install it, it's having problem and they don't want to cover it. And I did had a little chat with the person. He was not willing to give me a discount for second unit as well. Alright, he's charging me exactly the same price, 500 bucks, which I find that it's not worth, because if I were to buy a new one from Thailand, it's about 399, 400 ringgit, new one. Obviously, it's not original, but I see that it would be it will have better QC because it's coming from a factory rather than a recon shop that does their own machinings and all. Alright, 400 bucks versus 500 bucks recon. I will go for the new one if I was given the choice again, or I would have paid double, 1000 ringgit for a new made in Japan steering rack. Twice the price of the recon, but quality is guaranteed and they give me 1 year warranty. Alright, both the new units from Thailand or from Japan is 1 year warranty. Alright, so think about it before you purchase a recon steering rack or a recon anything from that matter, because the quality really depends on the shop that does it. Alright, some people they pride themselves on their quality, so the recon is good. Okay, but some they just don't. Alright, they just wash their hands off, even though this was a pretty big company, a pretty big factory as well, I see. Alright, but I'm disappointed. Okay, if you are thinking what's the name of the shop that I purchased it from, well, I don't want to put names out. Alright, but let's just keep it as that. Alright, if you have trust with the shop to do the recon, then yeah, go for it. Else, buy a new one. Alright, used parts, well, it's a gamble. Alright, cause you do not know the previous person that was using it, how was it being used, or what is the condition. And the used parts usually give you 1 to 2 weeks warranty. Anything beyond that is they're washing hands. But the good thing about used parts is it's cheap. A used steering rack for this car is about 150 to 200 ringgit. Alright, which is cheap, so that's good. Alright, that's a good gamble. But for recon, 500 bucks, which is more expensive than a made in Thailand new parts with 3 months warranty, nah, don't. I highly do not recommend that. Alright, so yeah, I think that's the end of this video. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I would not be putting a link to the steering rack because I don't want you guys to fall victim to the same shop. Alright, I will however put a link down for the steering coupling, because that is a very good seller. Alright, he initially sent me the wrong one, then when I informed him, he literally personally sent a new one to me to my house on the same day itself, even though he did actually promise the next day. but he sent it to me on the same day. So I'm gonna recommend this person. Alright, if you want to get steering coupling that's not original but new, get it from this person. Alright, okay, so as usual, if you have not done so, hit the subscribe and hit the like if you like this. If you don't like it, you can hit this and hit the bell button so you get notified on my future uploads. Alright, see you the next time. I'll see you again. Oh, right, because of this incident, I will have another video made on changing the steering rack the easier way, where we don't remove the subframe. Okay, wait for that video. See ya.